My name is Maeve Hawk. I'm a senior in the College of Arts and Sciences studying political science, and I'm the choreographer of Already Home. So I met Issa my freshman spring of college, and I really got to know her during my sophomore fall when we were in Footloose together. And Issa would always tell us that she was writing a musical and she was really excited about it. And so she would come in with her progress every day and talk about it. And she'd be like, oh, here's this scene that I wrote today. Here's this song I put together. Here's a demo that my friends did. And so as I got to know Issa, I also got to know the show that she was writing. So when Issa asked me to be a part of the show, I was instantly interested. I was instantly very excited because I kind of felt like my friendship with Issa was very based in the show and her progress in it, so I was really excited to get to know the show on a different level as well. I actually joined the team as the assistant director for the one-act version, so I've been on this project since pretty much the beginning. Obviously, during the summer of 2020, we had kind of had to come to the realization that the show was not gonna be what we'd imagined all along, and it wasn't gonna be in the format that we had been expecting. Along the way, we've kind of realized that we weren't losing parts of the production, we were just gaining other experiences and other things that would make the show so interesting and so much more important than it was originally supposed to be. What has changed is communicating with the cast has been super, super important because I'm teaching in a way that I've never had to teach choreography before. So I think the communication aspect has been really important in that, and that's kind of how my role has changed, is I just have to be in constant communication with everyone to see, did this work? Is this helpful? Does that look good on screen? So that's definitely how I've progressed. Our creative team group chat is always blowing up. There's always something in there. We're always bouncing ideas off of each other, and we're always talking about this production. Since the summer, we check in every Monday and have our meetings, and it's not only a creative team production check-in, it's a lot of personal check-ins as well, just to see how everyone's doing. And I think we've all supported each other pretty well, because I know it's been difficult to be creative during a pandemic, especially when we're trapped inside our dorms or apartments or houses. So I think we've done really well with communication. A huge part of this production is the fact that it's not what it originally was intended to be. And it's the production as a whole isn't only shaped by the characters, it's not only shaped by the music, the choreography, the lines that they're saying. It's shaped by this process that we went through when we realized, oh, we have to change everything, to working through that and putting everything together into this website. So on the website, you're not just gonna see scenes, you're not just gonna see songs, you're gonna see kind of the step-by-step of us accepting that change and moving forward, which is also a huge theme in the show. So immersive theater, exciting. I think my favorite piece of this production was Beautiful Day, because of the way it came to be. So originally what I wanted to do with Beautiful Day was take the choreography that we used for the one-act production that Issa and I also just spur of the moment came up with on the sidelines of a rehearsal, and work it into a virtual setting. So I think what it was I think everyone was holding flowers and dancing with the flowers, and I was like, oh, we're gonna do that. It's gonna be pretty. It's gonna be on the screen while Jimena is singing. It's gonna be beautiful. And as I kept trying to work that choreography into a virtual setup, it wasn't clicking. It wasn't working. I was unhappy with it. I kept redoing it and changing it, and eventually I kind of had to sit myself down and realize that there's no need to make that song look like it did in the one-act version, because that's not what that song is anymore. has completely changed in every possible way. It's not happening on a big stage. It's not happening that song is not happening for the reasons it was intended to in the initial libretto. So I kind of did a 180 as well, and instead of choreography that was going to just look pretty on the screen, I decided to make that song a montage of what our actors viewed as a beautiful day. So instead of like them dancing and it being pretty, I wanted them to show, like, give the audience an insight into what they felt was beautiful and what they wanted to see in the world. So in addition to changing with the character of Jimena and changing with the scene that song is in, it also changed in the way that the production, it shows the change that the production has taken in those turns, because a huge issue that I think a lot of people have had during this pandemic is how to be creative and how to motivate yourself to be creative. I think there's a large group of people that have actually completely changed their worldview and completely developed a new form of creativity in the pandemic. And I know a lot of people as well who haven't been able to do that. They haven't felt as motivated. They haven't had as much inspiration. And I've been one of those people, to be honest. I haven't been as excited about things that I used to be excited about. Choreography looking pretty on a screen isn't what we're trying to show here. And I think I really thought it would be nice for our actors to kind of have their own spot in this production, because each thing that they're doing in that video is something that they chose to do because they just wanted to, and it would bring them joy, and it would bring them a little bit of peace and hopefully get their creative juices flowing. I know watching those videos has done that for me. Yeah, so any production that I've done prior to this one, it's been on a stage, it's been one certain thing that I can kind of put into a box. But this production is it's shown me what Isa calls immersive theater. So like a lot of what we're showing isn't just the show, it's not just the lines, it's the whole process of putting it together, and I think that's really important. So the song Time really focuses on this idea of Josh and Clara just missing each other, and just not just missing in the "oh, I miss you" type of way, but just it was never the right time. It never seemed like the right time for them, and that's kind of an introduction to Josh's character. Is he's never felt like he was there at the right time. He never felt like he could be there and do the right thing at the right time, and a lot of the choreography for that song is just showing that frustration and showing that grief that Josh is experiencing in addition to Clara. And that is also a number that had to change a lot from the pandemic. It changed into a song about wrong timing, and it kind of put it in a pandemic perspective, because obviously Josh and Clara, well, the dancers representing Josh and Clara are going to be on two different screens, sort of doing this choreography that represents their frustration. And I think that's something that makes sense in the context of the pandemic. It's two people who can't be in the same space they want to be together, or they're not in the right place at the right time. And I think that really shows how a lot of people feel during the pandemic, and I think Time can kind of represent not only the original frustration that Josh was feeling about Clara, but it represents this bigger picture of something that a lot of people are experiencing. Not being able to see their loved ones, not being able to connect with the loved ones that they can see. So I think that's like a huge part of frustration that Josh is feeling that a lot of us can relate to. So that's kind of where a lot of my inspiration came from, because every time that something shifted for that number and something changed in a way that it wasn't what I had originally pictured, I was feeling that frustration as well. And I think you can kind of see that in the choreography, which is really exciting. I would say the most challenging part of this process was, the answer is the same. Working through a pandemic, changing every single bit of our original vision has been challenging. It's been difficult. It's been disappointing at times. And I think there was a time when we felt like we were losing our show and we were losing what our vision was. But on the flip side of that, the most rewarding thing has been taking that loss that we felt and turning it into a completely new thing. And every step of the way we changed. And I think that's something that we can look back on and be proud of, because not only did we take something that was looking, at some point, kind of looking like it was going to be an on-fire garbage can and just not exist, or just be Issa's script on a website somewhere. Not only did we adjust to those changes, but we did it in a way that the audience can see those challenges that we faced in our work in every step of the way. Yeah, and I think that's a huge part of putting on a production during a pandemic, is being honest. And I think this production is really, really honest about all of the things that didn't always go right. A lot of what Already Home focuses on is the things that got Clara through not only her freshman year of college, but her sister's death and all of the grief that came with that. And I think you can also see that in this production is something that got a lot of us through and helped us out in dealing with a very stressful time, as Clara had to deal with. A lot of people have lost loved ones. A lot of people have had to deal with the stress of thinking about possibly losing loved ones. A lot of people have just not been able to connect with people in a way that they're used to. And I think the show has brought a lot of us together, a lot of people who we wouldn't have necessarily gotten to meet, gotten to work with. And I hope the audience can see how rewarding it was.